Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is wonderful to see you again for another episode of Right Click, hosted by Byrdman, and this is going to be a different sort of episode because I'm actually very excited to just jump right in. No preamble this time, we're just going to jump right in. And the big reason I'm excited about this is this has to do with the newest Call of Duty. Now, I know that this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that is okay. This is not going to be just specifically about the information that we know about Call of Duty coming out this fall. Now, this is actually going to be diving into, frankly, a little bit of drama, actually, as it turns out. I have been obviously following Call of Duty for a long time, and I'm very familiar with what we call the COD cycle. COD cycle is pretty much just the loop of people's excitement and then going to, this game is not fun anymore, to, oh look, there's a new one coming out, it's shiny, I'm so excited, and round we go. You get it. Point's not that difficult, but for the first time ever, literally ever, I have seen something that I've never seen before. Somehow, someway, pretty much the entire game has been leaked online. I've never seen that happen. Now, again, in the Call of Duty cycle, people get excited. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's always some manner of leak that comes out. We end up knowing what the starting guns are going to be, or what the level cap is going to be. It's typically smaller stuff, is my point. Funnily enough, this time around, that is not the case. And when I was saying that they've pretty much leaked the full game, I mean they've leaked the full game. Now, I want to go ahead and just preface this. I am going to be showing some stuff from Twitter, but I want to make this very clear. Activision and Treyarch has been sending cease and desists and all sorts of letters, all sorts of lawsuit stuff. I am not going to be showing any leaks. If anything comes up in the timeline, it is stuff that is publicly available, and I'm not going to click on it. We're not going to break it down. We're not going to go into that. That's not what the point of this video is. However, there is going to be stuff that we're going to talk about that have to do with the leaks. So I want to make that very clear because I have no intention on spilling these beans. You can go and find this stuff yourself. I have no intention of doing any of that. So with that said, a little bit of covering your rear end done, which is, you know, I get the position they're in. It's their IP. They have to handle it as such. Fine. But how did we get here? Because this is the thing, this is the kind of question of sorts that I want to answer, because I'm surprised at what it is I'm seeing. So, Lord, over a week ago at this point, some information about the game started to come out in a manner that we are used to. It's a leak, right? Like, little things started coming out. And then all of a sudden, there was footage. Now, you know as well as I do, with every game, with every movie, with every TV show, there's always a trailer that precedes it. That's nothing new. But what I noticed is that I thought I was seeing clips from a trailer. No, as it turns out, I was seeing in-game footage, which blew my mind because I didn't really dig real deep into it. I was like, okay, I've worked in a game studio. You make recordings to go back to cross-reference for later builds. That's nothing. That's not outside of standard practice, especially for developers working late nights. Want to make sure I have something to reference from yesterday. Okay, I've seen stuff like that get leaked before, but it's been clips, very small clips, not multiple minutes, not 10 minutes, not 30 minutes. And that's where this time is different. Because actually, as I started to dig into this, because I started seeing things about the game I was very excited to see, Black Ops 6. Well, what I didn't realize was that this was video being spread around from one guy who was able to basically download an old alpha version of the game. Now, keep in mind, here in, at the end of the month, I believe it is, maybe end of next month, I don't fully recall, it doesn't really matter, it's not pertinent to this, the public beta is going to come out. So it's going to give people the chance to join in for free, play a little bit of the game for 2-3 days. Nothing's going to carry over to, none of your unlocks can carry over. It's a very limited release, and it's only going to be certain things that are in the game, but it's going to give people a chance to play it, and really more than anything, it's giving the developers a chance to test their servers and make sure when a mass influx of people try to join on day one that it's not going to break everything. But with this, this is being done in a manner that I didn't really anticipate. So what's happening, and I'm not going to tell you how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I know very rudimentary roundabout how it's being done. And that's being done through old PlayStation 4s. Mind you, we're at the current generation of consoles, which is PlayStation 5. But they're basically accessing old alpha build files and can go in and play against bots and play the zombies mode and all of this kind of stuff. And I inadvertently, frankly, have seen everything that's coming out. I mean, everything about the game at its core has pretty much been released. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I didn't mind, to be frank with you, I didn't mind watching and seeing the spoilers. I've been in this rodeo for a long time. Call of Duty is always generally the same, with minutia tweaked and a new game engine or graphics, really. I know 90% what to expect, right? Things I'm excited for are the changes in zombies. So I wasn't really fazed by watching these leaks. What I was fazed by was the fact that one guy got a hold of it. Okay, yeah, started to go viral, sure. But what really threw me for a loop is that he released all of the information on how to go get this leaked, this unofficial copy of the game. And so it's widespread. That is the first time in Call of Duty history, to my knowledge, that this has ever happened. Again, little leaks happen. Not the whole game can be playable privately. Here's the craziest part of this. I actually found out today that most people have been using private match lobbies to play against little bots. It's not really AI in the traditional sense. It's just artificial players that the game just has run around. So you can just test weapons and stuff like that. This is normal Call of Duty stuff. But the difference is now, for whatever reason, they have very limited active servers. I've actually been seeing people play with other actual people in this pre-release build. Now, mind you, this has been a week ago at this time, I want to say. And here's the craziest part. We're going to swap over now, and we're actually going to look at Twitter. Because there's a couple of things that I want to point out, because as it turns out, this situation is getting a little spicier than I think I really realized at first. I probably should have realized it would come to this point. But Treyarch and Activision have been handling this in a very, very interesting way. And so let's just kind of jump into this. So if you go on Twitter, which this is the best, really the best way to find stuff like this, there's a couple of things that I feel like I need to point out. So one of which is, you can see at the top here, if you just search Black Ops 6 leaks, you're gonna find a bunch of stuff. Some of this stuff is fake. This is fake. It's a reverse image, tracked it down. Little gameplay snippets. Charlie Intel, which we're gonna actually dig into. Bunch of different stuff. Treyarch inadvertently, this is great. Activision watching the entirety of Black Ops 6 get leaked today. Yeah, I mean, this is, for a week now, almost the entirety of this game has been uploaded, and you can see 25 gigs. Now, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know how to use it, but this is where we get into the real meat and potatoes here. I can't do anything with this. You can see media has been disabled by the copyright owner. Bunch of leaks, yada yada. Okay, cool, got it. But this is where I'm getting some conflict here, right? Because first of all, there's a lot of stuff out here. There's a lot of, this is real gameplay from a completely unreleased game. Screenshots. They've even found from what I could be wrong on this, but I think they even found like the next Warzone map. It's impressive in like a really bad way for Treyarch. And here's the crazy part. They haven't said a word. But then they started to do something that I never anticipated. This is Treyarch Studios' actual verified Twitter account. They have, I gotta admit, well played. Well played. They have started posting snippets of things with little one-liners that are legitimately directly linked to these leaks. And they're basically calling out these leakers, saying, little quirky lines like that. And I listen, I appreciate that. Now, I didn't expect them to handle this with any level of humor, to be honest. Everyone knows Activision is they like to throw their weight around. They've always liked to throw their weight around. Now, from a business standpoint, I don't really see an issue with that. It's their IP. It is literally their property that they can go and talk about and handle as they choose. Again, no issues with that. But Treyarch, for whatever reason, has decided to take the approach of, well, screw it. We're just going to have some fun with it. And they've been posting stuff for the last several days, especially in replies, hinting at, hey, we know you're leaking this stuff. But in the background, Activision has been doing this. This is a screenshot from a Discord server, and this is from I say company, and I think technically speaking they are a company, and it's a company called PS LAN, and this was the way, like one of the main ways that you could go and actually play Black Ops 6, this alpha build of Black Ops 6. Now, as far as we are aware, they were not actually selling any rights to this. They weren't actually selling copies or anything like that, but they were a company that can show you how to jailbreak a PlayStation 4 to be able to access the files, to be able to download the files, to be able to run the files. You see what I'm getting at? Well, Activision sent them a cease and desist, and according to them, made up a bunch of false information allegedly, and this is coming from Forward Leaks on Twitter. I'm going to read this, especially for my folks who can't see this. I'm going to read what this this person who runs PS LAN tweeted, or rather put in Discord and then tweeted. I have just received a C&D, i.e. cease and desist, from Activision. They are making a lot of false claims in there, riddled with typos. No research done whatsoever, claiming I'm selling Black Ops 6 for $6 per month and stuff like that. Making up damage numbers like 250,000 pounds from thin air. Yeah, I don't know if I said that. 6 pounds. We're obviously not dollars here. The dude they hired probably can't even speak English. I guess they're mad at their big time F up for this for releasing the update to the public early and trying to throw stuff at everyone they can now. Even though this wouldn't stand a chance in court and is all made up BS, BO6, Black Ops 6, has been removed from PS LAN. I have other projects to deal with and don't want to waste my time with this clown stuff. We'll probably post updates here. Now, that's a very interesting thing because anybody who saw this probably went, Activision is not going to love that. They're going to take strides to fix it. And of course they would. Again, it's their IP. But this right here is the reason that I have titled this Call of Duty Leaked Warfare, this episode. And for my more eagle-eyed old heads of Call of Duty, you know that's based off of the old titling of Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, etc. However, we're in a weird position here. Because on one hand, you have Treyarch kind of staying out of it. And Treyarch is the lead developer for this game, which is why Zombies is coming back in such a big fashion. However, Activision is doing what they should be doing as the publisher and as the money man, and going and dealing with this stuff. But what I find very interesting about all of this is all that I have seen for their excuses and their comments, etc., on leaks and all of this, they do actually seem to be pulling things out of thin air. You know, from what I'm aware, within the next month to month and a half is when the actual beta is going to come out. Now, these leaks are coming from an alpha build. I've said that. But if the beta is coming out in 30 to 45 days, if they're claiming that they're selling this alpha, this company PS Land is selling this alpha for $6 a month, that's really not substantial evidence. I don't really see what the point of saying that is, because that's not really a smoking gun, right? Like, you're charging $6. That makes more sense from the vernacular standpoint. But here we are. And so Activision is throwing cash hand over fist for the sake of for the sake of cease and desists. From what I've seen, there's been lawsuits about this. They threw $14 million in May. Yeah, $14 million. They for like cheats. They won a court case where a cheat maker, which they should have their hands slapped for this. I'm not advocating for cheats at all, of course, but they've been throwing money back and forth at things. And they're doing this in the weirdest way possible. And I don't really get what their game plan is. Because Treyarch, as the main publisher, has gone around in circles and not really made direct comments on the leaks. And I'm very curious, and this is where the discussion aspect of this episode, why this one's a little bit different, comes into play. Because what's the game plan? You're a month out from the beta. You're what? We're in August. We're in early August. I mean, crap. At this point, the game I believe is set to come out at the end of October. October 25th. So, if they're going to do all of this stuff, why do this in such an odd manner? If there's a problem, go fix it, go take it down. But it's been a week, and here is the most insane part. From Charlie Intel, 48 minutes ago at the time of recording, after a week of extensive leaks from Black Ops 6 multiplayer build being uploaded to the PlayStation database and accessed by leakers, Activision finally removed the build from PlayStation 4 database earlier today. Obviously, and this makes sense, many leakers still have the file downloaded and can play. That makes sense because if they downloaded it, it's on their system. They can still do what they want with it. Technically not true, but it's on their system as long as they're off network. Okay, now at what point is Activision going to do any IP tracing? Because they had to be downloaded. This stuff is publicly available, and if they have, obviously, which they do, the rights to their own IP, they can go after these people for accessing things illegally. Now, whether or not they have that in their terms of service or whatnot for a pre-release, I don't know how that works. I'm not going to pretend to know how that works, but I'm going to tell you that I think the way of handling this is so backwards. I think they screwed up in more ways than just the leak, because I think that the reason that large-scale lawsuits haven't happened and just cease and desists have happened is because they weren't prepared for anybody to attempt to access anything. And from everything that I know about this, it's brutally simple to do. In the grand scheme, to actually go in and have a PlayStation and access this is not difficult. But it has been we've gotten a lot of insight into the mismanagement of Activision. And as a Call of Duty nerd myself, I have to ask the question, does this bode poorly for the future of the game? Because here's the reality of it. Everything that we know, which for where we are in the game development cycle and the COD cycle, we really know a lot. More than we have ever known this early into a development cycle or this early into a release cycle. I mean, we're approaching release candidate versions of this game, and we know 90% of how this game works. Dude, there's few words that I can say to really dive into how mind-blowing that is. I don't I don't think that Activision and Treyarch specifically covered their bases properly for a technology age, for the technology age that we live in. I think if they would have, this never would have been possible. And if it was, they would not have taken a week to try to scramble together half-baked cease and desists. I am not a lawyer. I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer. But I am just a normal dude who plays a lot of Call of Duty and has for a lot of years. And I got to tell you, something feels off about this. If they weren't prepared to handle pre-alpha versions getting leaked and be able to just throw a cease and desist out immediately, this is their property. It took 5 days before I saw the very first, and I mean this, the very first one of these right here. Media could not be displayed. Has been removed due to a report from the copyright owner. I haven't seen, it took 5 days of a leak of an entire game from a company worth how much? Somebody screwed up in more than just one way, and it was more than just one person. And that's what, in all of this, surprises me the most. They have released a lot of information about the game, and as these leaks have spooled up, yeah, they've released even more, and I think probably more than they would have anticipated. As a matter of fact, they started releasing a lot of zombie stuff within the last 24 hours, and within the last 24 hours, some of the main, actually the main leaks and gameplays that have been coming out have been about zombies. As a matter of fact, you can go and openly watch nearly 20 minutes of straight gameplay that looks like was recorded in-house by the developer to showcase. And I think that was actually meant to be showcased at something like COD Next, the Call of Duty event, the release event. It's basically the equivalent to like Apple's whatever WWDC, where they release all their get on a stage and talk about it kind of thing. Somebody more than just one person screwed this up. I think this is a failure of their legal team. I think this is a failure of the developer and the publisher. I think this is a failure on a lot of fronts. And I got to tell you, they have been going back and forth saying, hey guys, we've been working on this for 4 years. This is going to be the best. And we have seen a lot of video about what this game, about what it looks like, how it plays, stuff like that. And granted, yes, it is an alpha build, but we know enough to see that this is not a revolutionary version of Call of Duty. It just isn't. It's a big deal that they have zombies coming back in a more true to form sense. But to me, it's an even bigger deal that we're seeing how the sausage is made and going, it's the same sausage. Like, I don't know, man. I always, listen, to some degree, I probably am a COD apologist to some level. And I love the IP. I love the game. I always have. But there's certain things that I just can't, like, I can't justify, and I have to be level-headed. I have to be unbiased, because I sit here and look at this and go, man, yeah, you guys screwed up. For sure you screwed up. But, like, it doesn't look much different from Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War that came out a couple of years ago. It just looks like a faster version, a lot of similar guns in it, a lot of similar like, it's still the same game. If think of it this way, for my folks that were playing prior to Advanced Warfare, it was all boots on the ground. It was all traditional Call of Duty. It wasn't anything crazy. Your normal Black Ops 2, your Modern Warfare. I believe it was after Modern Warfare 3 or Ghost, somewhere in there. Yeah, Ghost. It was just traditional Call of Duty in different formats, like in different formats of boots on the ground. It was still the same game. Imagine if Advanced Warfare, what came out after Ghost, the first legitimate huge change in Call of Duty history, imagine if that had gotten leaked to this level. It would have been pandemonium, because that game was so vastly different. There was leaks back then, nothing to this scale, of course, and people were going, oh my god, we're getting what in Call of Duty? We're going to be able to jump off of walls and have jetpacks? But everybody's looking at this and going, okay, it looks like a solid game, but it doesn't look like anything that haven't already been playing for the last 5 years. And with respect, it doesn't look like, again, I fully recognize and acknowledge that I'm talking about a leaked version of the game that's in an alpha build that's not going to see the light of day in a legitimate sense. But what I am telling you is the game's too far along, and if they really are 4 years into development, the game's not going to look that much different. I've seen how that sausage gets made. I know we're back around to the sausage analogy. I don't know why I keep going to sausage. But I have been there, and I have done that, and I have seen it, and the game is not going to change that drastically within the next month when the beta comes out. And sure as all get out, not going to change much from the beta to the final release. Typically, it's minutia that's changed. And, hey, we don't like how this mechanic behaves during this instance. Okay, we'll fix it. Fine, screw it. It's going to launch like that. Cool. This is nothing... Oh, God, forgive me. I'm going to get some heat for this. This is nothing special. And for the amount of nothing special happening that we're seeing, that we're about to get on our hands, why are they reacting this way? Put the cease and desist out, shut this stuff down, call it even. Okay, you got some leaks, people are going to share it. Cut it down. You can do that. I've seen them do that. Treyarch's making jokes about it, like underhanded jokes. The Activision, the publisher, is throwing out half-baked cease and desists. This was a failure across the board. This game could end up being fantastic, and I think from a gameplay standpoint, I think it is still going to be fun. I have no, listen, I'm going to play the game, don't get me wrong. But the reaction does not meet even the expectations. And we know a lot of what to expect now. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. I hope big changes are made. I don't think so. I can tell you right now, a lot of people with these leaks run serious risk of having their Activision accounts banned, hardware banned, IP banned. This was a big risk for a lot of people that I don't think is worth it. And I think we knew enough about the game by the time the leaks came out and by the time that alpha was accessible to know that this was not worth it. And I think Activision is... I don't even think that they're playing the damage control game. And those reactions across the board, from developer to producer to across the board, man, does not fill me with confidence for the future. There has been let's call them leaks. They're really not. There's been speculation that the game after this is going to be some Sledgehammer title that's more of an advanced warfare. So maybe we're getting jetpacks back. I don't know. But if they don't fix the fundamental issues that allow this kind of stuff to happen, and furthermore allow these kind of reactions to happen, Call of Duty has some bleak days ahead. And they're going to have to come big with the season updates and DLCs. And right now, they're just not instilling me with a lot of confidence that they have it. I hope I'm wrong. I love this IP. I hope I'm wrong. But we're seeing the same rinse and repeat with the same hype. And dude, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm curious to hear what everybody else's thoughts are. If you want, reach out to us on rightsidemedia.org. I would love to hear from you guys. I think this is a very interesting topic of discussion because we've never seen this before. And this is an IP that has been around a long time. And I mean a long time. Now, I don't know. We can see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. I hope you enjoyed this, though. We're going to talk about this more as things come up. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter and all that good stuff. I got this pulled up here. Go follow me at the Byrdman _ right here. Follow me on Twitter. Shoot me a message. I love to talk about this kind of stuff because this has been a crazy week for Call of Duty, and that is my bread and butter. And so I am looking forward to seeing where this goes. But for now, I appreciate you guys watching again. My name is Byrdman. This has been Right Click. Go follow us on Twitter, Right Side Media on Twitter. Go talk to us on rightsidemedia.org. Hit me up. Let's talk about this stuff. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later.